Here I have another pile of scraps. I'm always sorting scraps. And welcome to my channel. I'm Miss Linda Milky Quilt. I hope you enjoy this video made with blue fabric. Leftover pieces, various sizes, and I've picked out a whole pile of blue. There's a lot of fabric here, all in shades of blue, blue-green, gray blue, yellow blue, more than I can shake a few sticks at, I think. So I have to think about what I can make with all of this blue, 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 blue. Well, and fortunately, I have a little plan. A couple weeks ago, I went on a shop hop and I bought a new ruler. I always like trying something new. So I bought a 10-degree ruler, triangle ruler, 10 degrees. I went on a shop hop a couple of weeks ago and I was looking for black and white checks in a small grid and I didn't find any. And I was looking for a triangle ruler, somewhat like this, maybe 15 degrees, but I saw this one and it was 10 degrees. So that is a little bit narrower than I might like because my piecing isn't always that accurate. So I have to think about what I can make without having it bubble up in the middle. But I'm going to make them 11 inches, not the full 16. So I put a piece of masking tape here along the 11 mark so I can cut the pieces that length. And I've got pieces here that are too narrow. Well, they'll still stay in my scrap bin for another day. But I've got lots of pieces here that are the right size. This one here isn't long enough, so it'll stay in my scrap bin. So it's a matter of going through these things and deciding what I could use them with. And I just pulled randomly a whole bunch of blue pieces out on my table. There's going to be some that aren't going to work. This one will work, it's wide enough. This one will work, but it's not long enough. I could sew a couple pieces together, then they'd be long enough, but I think I'm going to have loads and loads and loads of fodder here. Yeah, that one will work. So, yep, it's going to be a cutting evening tonight. I sit and cut pieces of fabric and see what I can make. And I'll dream about this tonight and decide what to make tomorrow. But for now, it's blue. I'm blue. My background's blue. My walls are blue. Why not make a blue quilt? See you later. Time to tackle that pile of blue scraps. I cut a whole pile of 10-degree strips and sewed them together. I sewed 5 together, pressed them out, and formed them into a circle. But I really didn't like the way the circle was going because the center was way too fussy to sew together. I decided to cut the bottom flat, so I just used my ruler and cut straight across from one corner to another. And then I put that flat edge up against my ruler on the grid and measured 7 1/2 inches, and I then cut the point off. Made a decision to add a red triangle at the end of the strips. And easiest way was just to sew it on the flat edge and then use the ruler to cut So now all I really have to do is make some more. I am placing them about 2.5 inches apart in a zigzag fashion. And when I have the amount of blue and red triangles, I have to decide how to make my white strip to go in between. The easiest thing is use a piece of paper, put two together, separate them as far as I want, and then slice with my ruler. It's a very easy way to do it, and that way you get the correct angle at the top. I can also make the template for the side to make the side of the quilt straight and easy to sew. And speaking of the angle at the top, when I go to cut white cardstock on white fabric, I can't see the top. So I put some magic marker. I just used some magic marker to draw a line at the top of my template so I didn't cut the end off. Now I just have to sew everything together. All right, I did sew them together, but I think I made a mistake here. It's much longer than it is wide because the blocks are not square. I'm going to have to do some remediation, and I'm thinking about it. It's going to take me a while. I think I need to take a row apart and redistribute so I can have more of a bed-size quilt without just putting wide borders on two sides. That wasn't really well thought out, so here I am. Here I am. I took off one row from the end and redistributed the pieces to the side, and now it has a much more pleasing size for me. I'm going to put a 5-inch border of blue fabric around the outside, sew them together. I'm going to put a bold red backing on it and quilt it up. That's the next step. Well, I've got to say, this quilt has given me a run for my money. It was my first experiment with a 10-degree ruler. I don't like sewing very close points. I've learned that if I'm going to use a 10-degree ruler, I have to sew them in twos and then more twos so that I can fold over or open up the seam allowances a little bit more carefully. It was very difficult to come to the point. I think that's why they make Dresden plates. They use a circle to cover all of that messy points. But for those people who can sew to the points and make it look good, boy, I really give you credit because I can't do it. Cutting off the end and making straight ends for this 10-degree ruler was a lifesaver for me. But all of these ends tend to stretch. And sometimes when you sew the straight lines down, all the way down, they go poofy and wavy. And you have to be very careful about pressing those things. I used a towel and I pressed it, gave it a lot of steam so that these straight selvage edges or these straight of grain edges are going to hold them without allowing them to pucker out. And likewise, these seams going down, they measure an accurate measurement. And all of those became very accurate. But the ones at the end wanted to curve and buckle out. That's why I made the addition of a border so I could measure the length and put a slight basting stitch and pulled up some of the edges to keep the length the correct size. You can't see the fact that there was a basting and there's no gathering, but it just eased it in enough to allow me to put that border on and square it up. It lays flat now, but for about 2 weeks, I set it aside and I went on and made 2 other quilts, believe it or not, which I have another video coming up. But I couldn't get my head around how I was going to straighten the edges that wanted to ballerina. I mean, you know, they were making skirts all around, and these points were puckering up. So it was a good experiment for me, but I think it will be quite a while before I use that 10-degree ruler again. It gave me a run for my money. I'm not used to that kind of precision, but I should learn how to do things like that and make things a little tidier. But I'm very happy and very pleased that I persevered and I finished the top. I've got my backing. I've got my backing fabric. It's solid red. It's going to go on Friday. It's Wednesday today. It's going to go on Friday when I can go and lay these things out. I've got 3 quilt tops to lay out on Friday to sandwich together. So that'll be another video. I think I'm going to end this one now. And I hope you persevered with me to the end. And I hope that you enjoy your November or whatever month it is you are watching this. And we've had quite a bit of snow. It's all gone away now. And I've got to go out and finish raking some leaves that fell down. I don't know what that's all about. I thought all the leaves were gone. But anyway, I digress. I think this was a good experiment for me. I like the boldness of the pattern. And I'm very glad that I've got it together and I can quilt it now. So, give me a thumbs up. I worked hard on this one. And if you haven't subscribed, think about it. Or not. I just still enjoy making these videos and putting them on YouTube. So anyway, I hope you enjoy your end of the season, whatever season it is, and continue to enjoy your quilting. See you next time. Bye.